So let's talk about hooks. Man, this is super important because a hook, and I put this Magambo on just because it's real easy to look at. That thing is giant. Look at that thing. God, I wish I would actually fish for fish that were that big. A hook is essentially one of, I don't want to say the most important, it is one of the most important pieces of equipment, right? So you look at this. Start with the big picture. You're in a boat, and you went out, and you went to Sherm's, and you paid $60,000 for this bass boat. And it's gorgeous, and it's got a motor and electronics, and you got to pump it up with gas, and you got to tow it with a $40,000 or $50,000 truck. And then you buy this beautiful $300 combo, and you spend all the money on this expensive Japanese special tricked out fluorocarbon. And then we get to the hook, and we're kind of like, a hook's a hook. Dude, that hook is the most important piece between figuring all that other stuff out, setting the hook, and landing the fish. It's the most important piece to catching that fish. But the hook also can change the action of the bait in a good way and a bad way. And that's what I want to look at today, is picking the right hook, selecting the right hook. Next slide. I just talked about that. Next slide. Go to the next slide. I jumped it. First thing I want to do is there's a lot of different styles of hooks. That's an actual drop shot hook. And then when I'm drop shotting, my weight's on the bottom most of the time. The great thing about that, a drop shot with it nose hooked, is it keeps it in place, right? And look at nose hooking, kicks it out to the side. So when that weight's on the bottom and you're shaking your rod tip, it's off the bottom but staying in one spot, which is really natural. And you can see just by me holding it, all the action that thing has. I want to skip real quick and talk about thread it. This is one that's phenomenal with these minnow baits or goby style baits. How many of you guys use a goby shaped bait? They're really good. Is threading it. And I'll do this every once in a while when I'm nose hooking. I'll nose hook like this, right? Every once in a while I have bites. You're drop shotting and one hits it, and you, God. And if I start missing them, I'll take these same baits and I'll thread it. And that Neko hook is a great one to do, because the Neko hook's just a little short shank Aberdeen style, straight shank hook almost. And I'm just going to get that same bait and I thread it. And I did this a lot last year. And again, it's another high percentage way to get them. And now, look at that. When you thread it, it still kicks it out to the side, but now the hook is about halfway back in the body. And your hookup percentage really goes up. Now, heavy weeds or brush, you can't do that. But in those open water scenarios, threading is super. And then let me hit these last two real quick, which is Wacky rig. Wacky rigging, which is, stealing his hook again. Wacky rigging is you're taking your bait. Most of the time it's a soft plastic stick bait, and we're getting our hook, and we're hooking it dead in the middle, right? And we get that amazing little meh. How many people fish a soft stick bait? Senko style bait. So when you throw it out there on a Wacky rig, you know what it does, right? I want everybody with their arms to imitate a falling Senko. On the count of three. Hold on the count of three. You guys too. Don't be staring at me like that. On the count of three, everybody imitate a soft plastic stick bait falling. 1, 2, 3, go. It looks funnier from up here. Look it out. It's funny. And then finally, the last one is Neko. And I want to show you this a little bit. Is Neko rig. Man, Neko rigging is another one of those ones up like a spy bait, which I think is a big trend right now. And so Neko rigging, we've got our worm. I like straight tail worms and I like soft stick baits. We're going to get a weight, basically just a nail. That's all it is. It's just an insert weight or a nail. That's a VMC Neko weight. And we're going to stick it in the fat end of the worm, whether if it's a stick bait or even if it's that just a regular straight tail worm. Stick it in the fat end of the worm, and we're going to leave a little bit of that nail or that lead sticking out. And then when we rig it, we're not going to rig it wacky, we're not going to nose hook it, we're not going to tex it, but we're going to rig it Neko style, which, again, this is that same Neko hook. But I want to rig this bait so that it's in line with the bait, but the hook is pointing up, right? And so the way I measure it is on these soft stick baits, I like to go right below the egg sac, so about 3/4 of the way down.
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Glusek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests. From on the water to in the classroom, you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills. Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time. Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best. Subscribe to Bass University TV today.